A man worth 9 figures tried flying her out in economy. I'm about to tell you why that one decision told us everything. It had nothing to do with the money. This is the dating strategy for women that nobody's telling you, and it's not pretty. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to break down why some of the wealthiest men you'll ever meet still won't give. This clip was pulled from a live that I hosted, so the energy is, let's just say, a little different. I get very passionate when I teach because I don't want you wasting your time like I did.
Today's live is about why men who are comfortable receiving never give. This is the dating strategy for women who are done playing games, done having their time wasted. Stop listening to masculine women tell you that you can't find a provider. I'm clearly my masculine right now. I also have a provider. Ask me how I did it, okay? Because they haven't figured out how to do it yet. When I'm with y'all, I'm in my masculine. When I'm running my business, I'm in my masculine. When I'm with him, I'm in my feminine. A lot of these women online will sit here and preach to you about how men need to marry their equal. Like they know. Telling you you're too old. I'm 49, okay? 49. The lady I just told you about was between 74 and 76. She even had a provider. She was in her feminine. Men are at different phases of their lives. So you have to understand when you are dealing with a man who is still actively working and building, if he still needs social capital, okay, if he still needs connections, he's going to want to date the kind of woman who can provide those things, who can open up those kinds of doors. I'm going to tell you a story. Y'all not gonna believe the story because it relates directly to point number 4. The real reason he can't receive and give at the same time. When a man is operating from a scarcity mindset, write this down. That's new money, by the way. Okay, because you know who's not in a scarcity mindset? People who are enjoying generational wealth. They're not scarce because their money came from previous generations. They didn't have to make it. All they're doing is spending it and preserving it. If they grew up poor, if they're self-made, if they got new money like an athlete or something like that, they have to partner with women who have something else to offer. It doesn't have to be your education or your pedigree per se. Although I've heard crazy bitches here on this here internet talking about, I went to prep school and I did this and I'm in the right rooms. And trust me, these men aren't spending on you. Okay. Meanwhile, they at the strip club spending on who? Women who need it. Okay. So if you're not a woman of need and you in these rooms, you wasting your damn time. You just like these men, you're the competition. That's why they're not choosing you. You're in all the right rooms. You can be in all the right rooms. But let me get to this story. Okay. I'm going off on a tangent. Let me get to the story. Okay. Before I moved here, I planned 2-month-long trips and I joined a group called Internations. On one of my trips, or as a trip was approaching, I ended up meeting someone on this app. He and I started talking, but because I am who I am and I teach this stuff, I understood that he had low self-esteem. He owned real estate in his state to the tune of $100+ million. Okay. Now he told me this because we became, friendly, and he was happy to report that. And I'm going to get to how this relates to point number 4, why he can't give and receive simultaneously in a second. Okay. Because the scarcity mindset on this one was so real. So I knew going in that he had low self-esteem and I was just kind of like, and I had to do some digging, right? To figure out if he was going to be worth my time. But then there was one caveat. He was shorter than me. And I was like, that's not going to work because he's mentioned it twice in that conversation. He was like, you're 6'1", like you're going to be so much taller than me. And I'm like, yeah, no, this is definitely falling into the low self-esteem category. I don't have time. I'm fucking have time for this. I said, okay, I have a girlfriend for you because, you got to keep him in the family. If the height was an issue in the beginning, it was going to always be an issue. Okay. Don't let me go put some heels on. And then I'm basically Big Bird. So I was like, let me introduce him to a friend. They get on the phone, they start talking. I am visiting her. She's in the city that he's originally from. So he goes back and forth between that city and his home in the south of France. I'm like, this could be perfect, right? He can see her when he comes back. And so I'm like, okay, I get them to talking. She's fully in her feminine. And he's like, well, when is V coming? Why don't you just come with her? And I was like, I thought that was odd that he would want her to come with me when he wants to see her. So I had to double back. I was like, well, I don't really know when I'm coming. I'll keep you posted. And so that let him know, like, she's not partnering her trip with me, spending her own money to come and see you. Like, she doesn't need to come with me. So you've got to like sort this out. So she was like, because she knows how to finesse, she was just like, well, I would love to see you, but, I'm just used to being taken care of. Like, I'm just used to being spoiled. Silence. She shut the fuck up because she's from Miami and she know better. So what does that do for him? Well, it gives him an opportunity. And the opportunity was, do I step up to the plate and offer her a flight? Or do I say, no, thank you, and put this lust I have for her to the side? So he comes back with, okay, well, I would love to see you. Let me look at flights and I will let you know. Here it comes. Okay. So he offers her the flight. I'm going to get high. I was just thinking about this. He comes back after saying, yeah, let me look at flights. And he says, well, it looks like I can get you into Nice. He's like, but, I'm looking at the price of like business, but it's really pricey. So I did find an economy ticket for you though. Yeah. What do you think she said? Economy, to visit a man for 9 hours in economy. Silence. She didn't say anything. You know why? Because her silence said everything. She didn't say no, thank you. You know why? Because no, thank you still required energy. And she wasn't willing to give a man who wasn't willing to give to her. She wasn't willing to give a man any more of her energy. By the way, the fact that he saw fit to offer her economy told her and me exactly, and I was embarrassed because I introduced him to her. Okay, exactly what box he put her in. Now, I'm not even trying to be funny, okay? Because if the price difference was that great and you weren't willing to pay it, just say that. But the problem wasn't that, because he had the money. The problem, I found out, but I didn't put two and two together. Actually, no, I did. I'm going to put two and two together for you right now. The problem was he grew up poor. He was the first generation with money. And so he was operating from a scarcity mindset. So what did he do? He offered her, because he doesn't want a gold digger. He wants access to her time, attention, and her body. Okay. He's a resource digger. So when he offered her the economy flight, that told both of us how he saw her. Okay. Obviously, she wasn't responding ever again. And honestly, I never talked to him again. But he called me. Dun, dun. 3-4 months later. Do y'all want to know what he said? Hey, V, how's everything? Blah, blah, blah. By the way, I just want to tell you that I'm engaged in 3-4 months. But I didn't say that. I'm just telling this to you. You're engaged? Okay. You found somebody to accept the cheap version of you? Okay. So here's what happened. Back to my point about men at certain stages who are still in their active building years require a woman to have something to trade. If he's still building, he's got money, but maybe he's missing something else. Insert the woman he chose. Okay. Because my girlfriend was in her feminine. She's in her receiving, but he wasn't in his masculine. He wasn't willing to give to her unless it was in exchange for something else. The woman that he chose with an 8-carat diamond could give him something that my girlfriend could not. Does anybody know what that was? It's going to surprise you. She gave him access to rooms and environments that his money alone could not buy. Royalty. Okay. You know who's here, right? It's just that she had access. Okay. It wasn't about the money. So for those of you that are like leading with your accomplishments, stop leading, because leading is what? Type it in the comments. Leading is what? Leading is masculine. When you show up and your credentials show up before you do, you're masculine. Don't do that. The way that he meets you, the box that he puts you in, you will never escape it. There is never a second chance to make a first impression. That's the saying. If you in all the right rooms, but you in all the wrong energy, and y'all, I know these rooms, I'm in these rooms, and I see the kind of women that they pick. You would be shocked. Another good example, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. Men do this too. Why wouldn't he want to partner with the billionaire? He was cheap with, what was his ex's name? Taylor Nicole, because he put her in a box and he was like, yeah, no, you're not coming out of there. Your box, your presentation is everything. And I'm not even just talking about from a romantic context. I'm talking about in everyday life, the way you are, the way you present yourself, all of it. When you're vetting a man using my 3-question framework, you will find out in the first 2 questions whether or not he's cut out to actually provide, what his views are on provision. Why are we going straight for that? Because it ain't worth your damn time if he's not. Knowing these things is going to save you. Listen, y'all, you're going to spend your time or you're going to spend your money. You can learn from me what to ask so that you don't waste your time. I sat up and I told you I didn't get to this point until I was 46 years old, 45, 46. Okay. And then it takes time to get what you want after that, because then you know, like, shit, I wasted years. I do not want that for you. By the way, the woman that he's engaged to, or maybe they're married now, masculine. You can actually still pull a man while you're in your masculine. I'm telling you what I know based on my background, which is marketing, dark marketing, psychology, 1%. Y'all are after the exact same audience of people that I spent my whole life around and now live around. Listen to me. Don't think that your shit is so good that you're going to be able to change a non-giver into a believer. Okay? If somebody's not religious and you take them to church once, what do you think is going to happen? Nothing is going to happen. If a man is in a scarcity mindset, he's never going to become a giver.
You already know I wasted years of my time. The questions that show you exactly who he is before you waste any of your years are in the Smart Dating Book of Questions. The link's right below. But knowing the right questions only works if you can read what he does after you ask them. That's where most women go wrong. So if you want to avoid that pitfall, go watch this video next.